younger and you, uh, and if you're an athlete and you were younger and very, very active, particularly if you were engaged in strength training, male or female, then the years go by and you've gotten away from all that. Understand something, that this thing that, you've heard, muscle memory, it's which is a, very much of such a layman's term, but there's really some science behind it that says that's going to work for you. And to your benefit. Having said that, what if you weren't the athlete? What if you were more interested in the arts and things like this, and just really weren't into sports and activity? And then you get to this station in life. Well, guess what? That's where you're going to start. And at the end of the day, we all have to do the work if we want to achieve anything in terms of excellence. In any field that you could name, he's going to have to put in the work. So that, just wanted to piggyback on that one note. But it's nice to know about your athletic background. And but at the end of the day, we just got to go and do the work. And Wayne, I think Wayne, I didn't want on you. I've got my phone going here, so I've got multiple screens, but I didn't want to step on your moment. If
you're good, go. No.
Okay,
it's your moment. We did our intros, and take it away, man.
Yeah, so I think that sometimes I'm not all metaphysical, touchy-feely guy. You could probably tell, but it's interesting. I got an email yesterday. I shared it with Wayne. And, hey, listen, I played in the NFL for 6 seasons, and you end up on a bunch of mailing lists. But one of them is the NFL, the NFL Alumni Association. And they've been doing this thing a while. I mean, they've been sending out email. I've been getting it for 40 years, but they do also a 12-week challenge. And I never really paid attention to it. And then just yesterday, I sort of was unpacking what they're doing. They're offering that just for the alumni, right? So I called up the guy that I didn't call him. I emailed the guy that's the director of that program, and I said, hey, I'd like to talk with you. I introduced myself to him, so I'm talking to him Friday. We'll talk about that, how that goes, Wayne. It's a guy, I did my homework on him already. I don't know that he'll know much about me, but he's a guy who looks to be about my age, and he has a degree in exercise science. And but he didn't play in the NFL, but he just coordinates programs and things. But I'm very interested to know. I think there's a lot of good. And I told him this in the email, and I'll say it to you now. The reason that amongst different ways that I talk to people and coach people in regards of physical fitness, eating properly, and wellness, is because it's a benefit to people when it's done right. And I'm passionate about the topic and that includes everything from one-to-one training in person to virtual training and the programming that I write. I even before the pandemic hit, I knew that I could help people and have been helping people for years, because what I noted was there are so many people out there. Let's just take a step back and take a global view, just a real quick overview. 80% of the population, of the adult population of the United States, is overweight. 80%. And we know this, that, and you've probably heard exactly this tiny little blurb about this. Wouldn't you know it, the Americans have gotten themselves into, as a whole, into a bad position with terms of their overall health. This wasn't, Americans didn't become the most overweight people on the planet collectively as a planet. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over the span of actually about 4 decades. And there's a lot of different reasons and a lot of different research that I could go on, and I could do a separate seminar about how that happened. But the fact of the matter is, we're in this position and we need help. So a big part of the folks that I work with just want to get off the mark. They just want to get off the fact that they're overweight that way. The second part is, even if you get on a scale and a reasonable number comes up there, how do you feel? How do you how do you move? How does the t-shirt fit you? How do you look in shorts and a t-shirt? That's a fair question at any age. I posted, if you don't follow me on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm easy to find. I posted a picture 4 days ago with one of my heroes, an 89-year-old gentleman that I see, and I've become one of my, he's a gym friend. I've known him for a decade, Chuck Mahoney. And take a look at what the 89 can look like. For most people, it's a disaster. For this guy, it's pretty awesome. And those are the people that inspire me. And make no mistake, that's my intention, to look like that and move like he moves at the age of 89, 59. So in 89, that's taking a look at the future. And there's a lot of other folks that are like-minded that way. It's a healthy way to think, by the way. It's a responsible way. It's a mature way to think about taking responsibility and ownership of your own health. Why? Because it's good for you. And how about this? It mitigates the chances that you become a burden to your family. So that's where I'm at on that. I think it's for every reason in the world, people want to lose weight, by and large, become increasingly fit, and not just lose weight, but feel and move well. So what's the requirement there, by the way? More cardio? Should I do a Pilates class? Should I do a spin? Well, the Peloton is certainly popular. Is that the best move? No, it's actually developing strength. And when you hear that word functional strength, it can be confusing, and it's misused at times. But let me just give it to you in this context. The two most popular, by the way, I'm an EMT. I went through that training years ago because I wanted to learn. And if you don't know what an EMT is, or ambulance drivers, at least here in California, they work inside emergency rooms and assist doctors from time. And it's 120 hours of education. You have to pass a national test. And I tell people it's like a pretty sophisticated first aid class. Doesn't teach you really anything about medicine. It's about first aid. And but I really wanted to know that. And since then, I think I counted one time, in the last 5 years, I've assisted 6 different people on the street in distress. I was a first responder, and I was either the first or second or third person that got to a scene. And by the way, when you get to the scene and you are an EMT or higher, you go, hey, listen, I'm an EMT. Does anybody have more education about what to do than me? You look around, and if somebody says I'm a nurse, you say, have at it. Or a doctor. That's how you take charge of the scene. And if nobody has as much education as you go and help. So that's how that works. But I wanted to help people in any circumstance I found them. That's consistent with how I think about physical fitness and helping people in general. So I want people to lose weight, to be healthier. Oh, by the way, I got distracted there. The number 1 and 2 reasons that elderly people called 911. Hey, I need an ambulance. I need help. Number 1 and 2. I can't get off the floor. I can't get off the toilet. And right up there, to be 1, 2, 3 is my heart. I feel something in my chest. I have a chest pain. Okay, boom, boom. Those are 3. Hey, lots of good reasons to exercise and eat right. If you're concerned about having chest pain, it's the number 1 killer. I'm internally motivated by that. Again, I'm 59. I've got 2 older brothers. They're 11 and 13 years older than me, and they both had heart attacks in their 50s. I haven't had a heart attack, and I look at my brother who's 61. I'm like, hey, so far so good, right? But it's beyond that. I'm doing everything I can. I don't have a particularly good set of genetic cards when it comes to my cardiovascular health. But listen, that's why I've got a great doctor, and we communicate about this, and I make sure I'm on meds for my familial high blood pressure and cholesterol. So just take care of what you can. But then you got to do the work in the gym. So there's all different kinds. I'm kind of jumping around, but there's all different reasons that I would encourage you to be exercising to take care of your body is personally responsible. It's going to improve the quality of your life. And above all, when people say, what's the number one reason, Pete, that you go to the gym? Like, what gets you, like, today, I got a lot to do today, but I had to go to the gym. I did. I got to the gym earlier. It's because I need it for my head. I need to feel better. And that's the thing that pushes away my body's natural instinct to be slightly depressed and anxious about things. So there's a whole bunch of reasons. Whatever your personal reasons are, you don't need to tell me. That's good for you. But I want you to tap into that internal motivation to reach certain goals, to be responsible to your family, to stave off anxiety, to lose that weight, to feel better, look better in a t-shirt. Now, where the rubber meets the road is this. What's best practices? What should I do? I don't know. I hear a lot of different things. Like I said, the Pelotons on TV all the time. I see the commercials. What should I do? That's where I come in. This is what I do. This is what I study. This is what I live. I like to say I lead from the front, and I can help you. Now, I don't mean to get too serious about it, because after I say that, I like to give that look. I am an actor. So, but beyond that, you got to have some fun. You got to enjoy this process, because if you don't enjoy the process, I mean, all those years I played football, it's a brutal game. It's a violent game, and I knew people that just, when I was a kid, the kid would come out for the team in high school. We had guys walk off the team in college. Just like, I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I don't know. I'm not having fun anymore. If it's not fun, you're not going to do the work. And, that's why I try to keep this whole physical fitness and eating right and being mindful of how you're going about your life, including getting enough sleep and all these different things that help people. So we can help people in a couple of ways. We're talking today here specifically about a 12-week challenge, because I think, and a lot of people agree, that that's an interesting frame of time. Is it enough? How much of a transformation can you make to your body and your health and your head in 12 weeks? You can't change the world, and you can't change your body completely. But if you're doing things correctly, I guarantee that you'll see results. So it's enough time. Do I think 12 days is enough? No, 12 days is not enough, but 12 weeks is enough. So that's why we're having this talk today. That's kind of my spiel on it. One last sort of procedural comment that I'll make is, when Wayne and I put our heads together to do this the first time, and we wanted to come back and just do it again and make it better. But one of the things that I thought, but a couple of you men have gone through this before, but I think it's incredibly important, and I can't figure out a way to do it that's any better. So we things that are important to us, we measure. How much money do you have in your account? If you don't care about money, or if you're not responsible to the bills in your life, you won't know. But we know, because it's important to us. How much gas do you have in your tank? You just drive around with never looking down at that. You want to know. You want to be responsible today. You don't want to run out of gas. And so we measure a level of fitness at the beginning, and we can retest that at the end. It's not a competition, except if you believe in competing with yourself for excellence. So then it would be. So we've chosen 4 exercises. I've chosen 4 exercises, and they require exactly 0 equipment, but they will test, and Kane can speak to this. But it's a reasonably good indicator. I'm not asking you to go out and run a mile, because that'll only test your cardiovascular and leg strength, endurance strength for a mile. And I think that's an incredibly weak way to calibrate anything. We want to calibrate strength. And I'm less interested about how much of a machine you can push, but this machine right here, 206 bones, 646 skeletal muscles. And how do you move that? So we do a test, and then a retest. And we think that helps gives people something to look forward to on the horizon, and then they can see tangible result or not. Got to do the work at the end of 12 weeks. So that's my spiel. I guess, do anyone want to add anything, Wayne, or any questions?
Um, well, thanks. And but things that come to my mind is, yeah, so you're talking about the 12-week challenge that we did before, the group that we had, and we're going to set up another one of those. More details will be put out. Yeah, I was a participant in it, and it was much like uh, you said. Yeah, yeah, I always like how you say, can you agree that if I do this many push-ups at the start of a 12-week period, and if I work at it, and at the end, I can do 5 or 6 more push-ups in 1 minute, do I agree that I've made progress? And clearly I have. So that always makes sense to me. The first time I heard about EMT, by the way, so I did not know that, but I love that continued striving for be a more capable human is what I've heard you say lots of times. And I would say the other thing that's been really, a couple of people shared about what's been helpful about working with you, which was great. I love thinking like Pete's my strength coach. And so even though I may only talk to you once a month or be in a group call once a month, I know that that drives me and that helps me get out there and move and walk sometimes, just like Bob was saying, sometimes go out in the gym and lift weights. So yeah, having Pete as my coach is pretty inspiring, and being in coaching and in an improvement program is inspiring. I don't have anything else. I think, you know, maybe people have specific questions for you. It's always a good one for me. Like, yeah, how do you keep going to the gym like that? Or how do you be 59 and be jacked like that? And maybe people have some specific things just because they got time with you that they want to ask.
Uh, yeah, I'd like to ask Pete, I've been following your surgery on your back, and it's been great getting your updates. How's everything going right now? Are you where you want to be, or do you still have a lot of uh, plateaus to hit with your rehab?
That's a good, yeah, I appreciate the question, Bob. And so those who don't know, so man, it's about 10 weeks ago, I had, I went and saw a neurosurgeon, and my chief complaint, two chief complaints was I was having pain in my lower back where I've had surgery previously, but I was having pain in my lower back and hips, and I was having numbness running down my legs, in particular my feet, bottom of my feet. So from my feet up to through my shins and calves, I have very limited sensation. And what I found out also through MRI, but also really most importantly a physical examination, that I didn't realize how much strength I had lost in my right calf. And I had surgery I was identified, diagnosed with stenosis, which is a narrowing in the area of in my case, the lumbar spine. So the nerves are compressed, and thus as the nerves run, sort of down to innervate my calves and feet. So calves, nerves do kind of run in two directions, right? They sense sensory nerves, feel heat. You step on a nail, send that up and tell your brain there's a nail there. And then they work the other way where you say, I want to do a calf raise. So power on, right? And in that direction. And so here it is 10 weeks later, I've got my back and hips feel much better. Let me go back. My surgeon said, chances are you're not going to get all that sensation, nerves running in both directions back right away. It could be 2 months, 6 months, 12 months. So here I am at 10 weeks, and I have not seen much improvement. It's frustrating. It doesn't stop me from working out. I can't do a calf raise of my own body weight on my right foot still. So that's frustrating. But I'm in this thing for the long run. And furthermore, I've seen I have a neurologist that I'm working with too, and I'm doing everything I can. So listen, I never thought, I did not have this problem 18 months ago. I didn't think, in 5 months I'm going to be 60. And I never thought I can't jog right now. I can't play golf. And it bums me out, but I'm optimistic that my body's going to heal. I don't have a guarantee from my doctor that it's going to go my way, but that's where I'm at. It's just, listen, I'm like everybody else. You've got some adversity. I got some. And so just power through. Yeah.
Good. Well, good to hear that it's progressing.
Yeah. Yeah. Slowly. Thank you.
Ian.
Anything else? Yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll just say one other thing, and that would be, oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was waiting to make sure nobody else can talk. It's sort of a two-part question. So the first one is diet-wise, your own diet and your own opinion on this. So I know calories in, calories out at the end of the day, but when you are dialing that in more, are you like carbohydrate-based, high protein? Are you more fat-based, lower carbohydrate? Like, do you lean a certain direction just for maintenance? And then the other part of that is, what are your thoughts about when you're in a calorie deficit, losing a little bit of body fat, steady state cardio, or are you more gym and just diet is going to get you there?
Yeah. Okay. That's a whole, 1 hour lecture. And so I'm just going to pick a spot in your question and jump in there.
Yep.
And I think the very first comment, I'm going to push back just a little bit on the very first comment you made, calories, calorie out, calories in, calories out. So if I hold up right here, 400 calories, they're carbs. I am holding carbs in both hands, right? So here's 400 calories worth of kale, and here's 400 calories worth of cotton candy. They're 400 calories, but I think the science shows that how your body is going to respond to that is going to be very, very different. So there is a nuance within. It's not a perfectly, closed system. When we took a chemistry class, right, we said we put the ingredients we wanted into a test tube, then we put a stopper on top, and we said, look, that system, we've not closed that system. If there's going to be a chemical reaction within there, it's closed. If you take the top off and and things start to bubble out, now that system is open, and it's right. So now the whole the volume and the mass, all those numbers change, but it's not a perfectly closed, system. So consideration, to your point, to the three macronutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats is very important. And I'll wrap it up this way and say that the way I think about things is prioritizing dietary protein is the best way to go. It's the simplest way to get people to eat better and to eat in such a way that it will be of most benefit to changing their morphology, which is the shape of the body, provided that they're doing regular and specific and intense strength training. And I would qualify that as at least 3 times a week. And so if they're looking to change the morphology, look better in a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, is prioritizing dietary protein would be the most important thing.
Do you personally though stay with, I mean, I've done all different kind of stuff over the years. Do you personally stay with lower carbs, higher fats, or higher carbs, lower fats? I understand the whole protein thing. I get that's what I base everything off of. I start with that as a starting point, but then so you have one over the other.
Yeah, no, and so it's interesting. So I try, even in my own language, especially when I'm trying to communicate, coaching, is I try to speak in proactive sentences. Versus, some people have a habit sometimes of phrasing things in a negative way. So let me say this. So my number 2 on the hit parade, 2 out of 3, macronutrients, is my consideration. Just the best way I can think of it is to well, I guess it's a negative term, but to control. I find it just most helpful to think of it this way, is to control my carbohydrate, be mindful of the differences between, cotton candy and kale is the easiest way to explain it, but there's most everything in between. And it's useful if one has an understanding of what the glycemic index is. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to unpack that right now, but so mindful of dietary protein and mindful of controlling simple sugary carbohydrate.
Got it.
You have a, I'm gonna say like intuitive, there's an intuitive way of approaching strength training, or you work to teach us how to have more of an intuitive way of doing it. So less of a, this is exactly the workout you do, and more of, these are the major muscle groups. We want to make sure we work out these major muscle groups. When it comes to food, I've experienced less, this is the exact diet, we're going to follow the Atkins diet, but rather we're going to make sure we get enough dietary protein to make that the building block.
Yeah.
Why, I don't even know how to phrase this. Why do you think that more intuitive way, even though it may take longer, it leads to more longer term gain for people? Or
I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, I hadn't thought about that phrase in my head, but specifically to the nutrition part, is that your question?
and the working out, both.
Or the fitness, yeah. So I think that both those topics, when I talk with people, and I guess we should mention that as part of the fitness challenge, you're going to have some limited, direct exposure to me. Again, we're doing this as a team. It's not to be confused with one-to-one virtual training. That's going to be an option for you. If somebody out there wanted to connect with me more, likes the idea, likes the idea that the way that I think about things, and thinks you could succeed, but you want to talk to me for jump on a session like this, 30 minutes once a week, we're going to make that available too. But here's the way I see it. And I gleaned this from Bruce Lee, and some of you know me, going to hear me, I repeat these certain things. And he said, when teaching his martial arts style, which I very much equate to so many things in life and the coaching that I do in terms of fitness and nutrition. He said, methods are many, principles are few. Let's break that down for 1 second. If somebody said to me, how many different methodologies might you use, Pete, to develop your pectoral muscles? Oh, I could say, well, I could do bench press, I could do crossover cable, I could use the pec machine, I could do push-ups, I could use dumbbells, I could use a special bar. That was 7 different ways to develop your pectorals right there. But those are the methods. But what's the principle of developing your pectorals? And what are the principles that are going to make that work? Well, it requires an understanding. Somebody that it's very helpful to require an understanding of understanding where the pectoral muscle is, what's the origin, where's the insertion. And here's what we know, that muscles get better, stronger, and bigger only when they're placed under mechanical tension. That's the trick. That's the secret sauce. But there's all different ways to do it. That's our methodologies. You can do a bench press and place your pectorals under mechanical tension, but you can also do it with cable flies, which is the best. So we think about the principles, and then we apply, how about this? How about if I just took a dumbbell and went like this for 20 reps? Would that develop my pectorals? No, it's not consistent. That motion is not consistent with the principles of what's required to place the pectoralis major under mechanical tension. So we need to understand the principles first, and then we apply methodologies with creativity, with care, with experimentation. I don't know how the hell I got to that last thing, but I'm passionate about everything I just said. And I tried, I guess I try to mix a little bit of the science and the art when when programming for people. So I'm never trying. Look, here's the workout, go and do that. Doesn't work for me. And I don't think I attract the people that works for them. Somebody who wants to really have break it down a little bit more and understand that what's my thinking that goes into exercise selection, again, to some greater or lesser degree that I can help all of you with. But that's the combination of understanding anatomy and the exercise science that I studied, and coupling that with years of experience. And then lastly, I'll say, I say this, I try to say this on a somewhat regular basis in my Making You Better 30 Seconds at a Time videos, is go to the gym. That's your laboratory, experiment, have some fun, try a new machine. Try it. You might just love it. You might say, that one's not for me. That's cool. You just made some progress there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, you know, as long as you have the fundamentals there, the principles, like you said, then as you mentioned earlier, if you're not having fun or you're not enjoying it, if you just give us a straight, you shall do this, and, you know, no adaptations, no, hey, these folks may not have this or that piece of equipment, then yeah, that just sucks. And then that just sucks the fun and the whole motivation out of it. So yeah, I can see where that's a huge Benny there. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll also add on to that. I'm glad you brought that up, Wayne, because that's something that I took from our conversations and my conversations with Pete in the past. You know, when I worked out as a young guy, we had these workouts, right? It was, you had your split for the week. It was back and buys, and it was very specific exercises. And I didn't deviate from those exercises, you know, if it was whatever it was. And when I got back to the gym this year, I broke my workouts into an upper body workout and a lower body workout. I'll just comment on my upper body workout. I hit my chest, my back, my shoulders, and my arms. You know, my arms are bis and tris, and I do 2 exercises for each one. And when I started laying out that workout routine, right, it was specific exercises, but I picked up more and more through conversations with Pete that those specific exercises weren't necessarily important, right? Pete said over and over again that he didn't have this regimented workout. Like, he knew what he wanted to do, and some days he felt like doing this and some days he felt like doing that. And so I adapted that into my workouts. And as long as I do 2 chest exercises and 2 back exercises and 2 bicep exercises, sometimes they're the same for multiple workouts in a row, and sometimes it's like, oh, I don't feel like doing that today. That's boring to me now, so I'm going to switch it up. But I still get those 2 exercises in, and I still get the same feeling at the end of the workout. I'm still hitting it hard. And so adding that variety has also kept me interested in my workout. It hasn't become boring yet, where in the past I've always gotten bored with it because I felt like I had to stick to that regimented, you know, that's what I wrote down. That's going to be my workout, whether I feel like doing it or not. So adding that variety and not having that, you know, that schedule, that hard schedule that I have to follow, it gets me back there, because I know that once I'm there, I can be creative while I'm at the gym, and I can go through the methods. The principle stays, but I can go through all those different methods to keep myself interested and motivated in that workout.
And I'll add one, you know, last comment to that, Kane, is that where you're at, the maturity of that workout, that where you can go to any gym in the world and have a great workout without me, without anything written in front of you, you've earned that. Comes through education and dedication and experimentation, and you, quite frankly, you care enough that you wanted to get your game up to that high, and that's ownership. So I understand. I'm talking to a very diverse, group of people. Some have Kane's level of experience, and some have nowhere near that much. So, but just understand that if your brain is saying, well, I'd feel more comfortable, I don't want to get hurt, and I'd feel more comfortable if somebody told me what to do. I understand that. I was there. I was a teenager. But then there's a maturity when you've really embraced it, and good for you, because not everybody by a long shot gets there. So very good.
One other thing that I'll bring up while I'm on the subject of going to the gym, there's guys at the gym that that I go to and that I see, big guys, cut, ripped guys, right? Guys that when you see them, you go, okay, whatever he does, I'm going to do, because it's whatever he's got is working, right? So if he's over there getting a drink, I'm going to go get a drink. If he's over there talking to that guy, I'm going to talk to him next. But I've noticed that a lot of them that are pushing heavy weights are losing a lot of their range of motion, in my opinion, from what I'm watching. And I feel like they're sacrificing something, right? By this very short, very limited range of motion. And I feel like they're sacrificing exercise, they're sacrificing something to stack that weight. And when I feel good, I'm tempted to add weight, right? If I've been on a certain weight, let's talk about bench press, right? If I've been benching 135 now for 3 weeks and I'm feeling good and I'm feeling strong, the temptation is there to go, okay, I can add another 50 pounds to it because I'm throwing this around. But then I look at some of these other guys and I feel like they're sacrificing. So I'm focusing on my range of motion, making sure I'm getting, what I'm going to describe as the whole exercise, the full exercise, and just adding weight to make sure that I continue to challenge myself. But I want to complete my sets. I want to complete the reps. If I've got myself penciled in for 10 reps, I don't want to sacrifice reps, just to look like I'm moving more weight in the gym. Right?
Yeah, you said a lot. I don't know. I don't want to say, because you said about 9 different things. So
I know. So
yeah.
What I'm saying
Okay.
is that I look at it and it's impressive to see these big guys, these big cut muscular guys to be moving a lot of weight, but I don't want to chase.
No,
I don't want to chase the weight because it looks
so
like
I'll just jump in there. So listen, there's some incredibly strong, incredibly mobile and flexible joint, shoulders, hips, and guys playing in the NFL. I was one of them, or that at the Olympic level, throw a shot put in a javelin. Crazy strong weightlifters, those guys. They never talk about it on TV, but trust me, I know these cats. But what they've managed to do is, and there is a balance there. And I had to find it myself and work towards it myself, but find a balance there between exactly how strong I wanted. Here's what's up. He's super strong and here's super flexible. But you could have a guy line up at defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's got the mobility of Gumby. But if he doesn't have the power, he's going to get knocked all over the place. So there's that balance there. And as a high level athlete, that, believe you me, that's something we and our strength coaches are very much in tune to, and trying to strike that happy medium. There's a lot of flexibility and mobility work that goes on with these athletes in the NFL. I'll tell you, that you never see on TV and nobody talks about because the regular folks, it's boring. But to keep to find that combination of elite power and elite mobility and quickness and suddenness is the real trick. The training that we do, and it's not that, we don't do that. And it's fun. Like, people have said to me over the years, hey, you played in the NFL, you're a big, strong, quick, powerful, explosive guy. You went to the combine before it was on TV and it was such a crazy thing. I put up great numbers. And I worked very hard to prepare myself for that combine and help move me up in the draft. But that's not what we're doing here. And people said to me, well, why are you an elite NFL, NBA strength and conditioning coach? I'm like, I never went down that career path. Like, I'm a guy with a liberal arts degree. That's one of the things that motivates me. Remember Avis, I'm not Hertz. I don't have a degree in strength and conditioning. I got a liberal arts degree, but I try twice as hard. But I'm also living that lifestyle and going from the front. So I don't train on optimum power performance for elite athletes. It's a super fun, beautiful, and interesting profession. I'm in the trenches with the regular folks. So I hear what you're saying. By the way, I think you're talking about not an athlete so much as a bodybuilder. And by the way, I have got many, many bodybuilder and physique contestant friends at the highest order, the best women, different categories, bikini, fitness, the bodybuilding men. And I appreciate and admire their dedication to what they're trying to do. But it's what they're trying to do is very, very specific. Has nothing in the world to do with mobility, flexibility, exhibiting power. And they know it, and that's how they train, with that very, very fine focus. One of the things I always loved about football was I loved lifting weights, but it was way more fun to play in a sport where I got to run, and use my pass rushing techniques and fight off, the double team. So anyway, that's the difference between those things. Well, we can learn some things from the power lifters and the ladies that have beautiful bodies. Much respect for women of all ages that are lifting weight and looking great in their 40s, 50s, and beyond. So that's a big part of my calculus when I love working with ladies. My training partner is a 55-year-old woman that will bury most men in the gym. Very strong, very lean, very mobile, and accomplished. So I'm glad we unpacked that just for a minute.
Pete,
I'm passionate about it.
What should we do when we leave here today? Do you got any advice to regular people that have some experience in the gym working hard on it?
Yeah, take this away. I'd be pleased if you said, man, I listened to this guy do some talking for about 45 minutes, and you know what I came away from? I'm going to be mindful moving forward. I'm going to be mindful of what I put in my body, what I ingest. I'm going to be mindful of the decisions that I'm making. Most people are even, they're in that struggle, but they're going to get to the gym. They're probably going to work out about 4 times a week. And maybe you wanted to work out 5 or 6 times a week, but life gets in the way. But think about that. And I respect everybody that gets their clothes on, gets their whatever, drives to the gym or goes to the garage gym or whatever, and 4 times a week and puts their muscles under skeletal tension, does some cardio, and does a great workout. Awesome. Think about this. Most people that are going to eat about 4 times a day, 3 meals and a snack, some permutation, some 6 a day, some 3 a day. Few people eat only twice a day, but most people are going to make, let's say 4 times a day, they're going to make a decision. So again, 4 workouts in a week versus 4 times 7, 28 times this week, you're going to make a decision. An incredibly, let's make no mistake, this is an incredible, you wouldn't even dare put the wrong gas in your car ever. But how mindful is the average person when it comes to what they're putting in their mouth, in their system? So, and they have to make that decision. We all have to 28 times a week. What's your thought process? How's that working out? How's that working for you? How's that going? How's your energy? You gaining weight? Do you feel strong? Does your body reflect, is it a reflection of what you think you should look like and move like, feel like? So be mindful of that. And just know that, I'm here for you. Keep watching 30 seconds at a time. People ask me all the time, like, talk about food more on the 30 seconds at a time. It's tough to talk about that 30 seconds at a time. I guess I should do one video and just say, be mindful. But that's a little bit different kind of a story to unpack. And it's more fun to show people working out anyway. So that's my story.
Mhm.
Great. Pete, thanks for being with us today. I'll take that away. That's the first time I've heard you. That's simple for me. I don't go to the pump and put diesel fuel in the car, only because the thing is like oversized and you can't get it in your tank. But you could put gasoline in a diesel truck pretty easily. That's a really great practical example that I'm gonna go like this and be like, is it diesel or high octane, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, it's good to see everybody. Appreciate the turnout, and reach out to me or Wayne with any questions. And no matter what, listen, I'm going to be posting for a long time, and I appreciate you. And I know it. I know. Hey, listen, just believe we're all in this together, all searching and striving for excellence.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Pete.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Wayne, for
Thanks
putting
for
this
the
together.
time.
You bet. Go get them.
Thanks, Wayne.